Hey everyone, if we pulled up your calendar right now, tell me what you would see. Would I see strategy or would I see lots of information for survival? Back-to-back calls, constant motion, and you're hustling hard, but are you really moving forward or just running in circles?
Because let's get real, y'all. Here's the truth. Not all hustle is actually created equal. And today we're calling out that chaos disguised as your productivity and getting real about what it takes to really hustle with intention instead of burnout. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone again, and welcome to another episode of Secrets in Medical Device Sales, where we give you guys tips, tricks, strategies for everyday excellence. And we so appreciate y'all continuing to tune in. Today is another great episode.
I know I'm excited because, I think this one really applies to me. And I think that I'm a perfect example of stopping what I'm doing in my tracks, looking at myself and reassessing what I need to do. So today's topic is really all about hustle culture. And if you're somebody who is high energy, driven, wanting to fill the calendar to no ends, feeling like, what do I do if I don't have any time? And I have to fill every bit of time. Sometimes that's not always productive and that's not always in our best interest. I'm saying that because I have to tell myself that sometimes frequently. So hustle culture, that's really our topic today. And so today in this episode, we want you to kind of have some takeaways. And what you're going to learn about is controlled chaos. So we're going to discuss the difference between motion and progress. We're also going to talk about why urgency without strategy can really lead to burnout. We don't want that. And also how to hustle with power, certainly not with panic. I love this topic because, all right, let me give an example. So you think you're hustling. So you're burning the candle at both ends. You're stacking calls back to back. And you're skipping lunch. Are you proud of that? You're answering emails. 11:31. Let me be the first to respond. But here's the truth. Hustle without direction is just a high functioning chaos. And high functioning chaos does not win long term.
Oh my God, I'm literally like, this is so me. I know you said it's so you. It is so me. In fact, not that long ago, I was singing my own praises to my husband, like, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can do that. I feel like we talked about multitasking. I feel like this is like right along with it. And you're proud of yourself. Yeah, I skipped lunch. Ooh, I fasted intermittent fasting for like 18 hours. But it's like,
yeah, I could never do that.
Did you really mean to do that? Or was it just like you were spinning your wheels, totally forgot to eat, and then it's like 6:00 at night and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm starving. I'm so guilty of this, you guys. And Cindy, you're right. It can be pretty detrimental if you're not careful. And what I mean by that is like, you are apt to make mistakes when you are running in this chaotic, I got to do this, I got to do that. I've got 5-10 million different plates spinning all at once. And I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm hustling. And then you realize that maybe you sent an email to the wrong person. Maybe you realize that you overreacted to something when you probably should have pulled back a little bit just because you're so tired, like physically and mentally exhausted. You're not taking the breaks that you need to take. You're not being strategic in your sales calls. I mean, this list can go on and on, but I think that we have hyped up hustle so much in today's culture. And I'm really glad that we're talking about this because it can totally kill a sales call. It can kill a sales strategy if you're not careful.
It's kind of like an illusion of hustle, because hustle is like a proud word. And if you're in medical device, there is a high demand for you. And it is something that does require showing up every day, a sense of urgency in the right way. And I think that I want to clarify when we talk about an illusion of hustle is that a high achiever, a high performer that we speak to all the time when you're listening to us, is that we often glorify busy and then we think busy equals effective. And that's something we want you to understand is not true. I think we've all been guilty of that. I love when you just talked about like intermittent fasting, something I couldn't do, but I like to eat too much. So the other thing is like, I think about work, okay? And I think about a time where it's fourth quarter, you're really in content for President's Club. And so everything gives you a sense of urgency, but it also brings on panic. And you think you have to do everything at once. I need you all to listen to me here to understand now that is not going to give you the results that you really need. So think about this. Ask yourself, are you really sprinting towards your goal? Because sometimes that just might make you stand still. So more hustle does not open more doors, more clinical time, and more sales. It might just bring you on more stress. So I think before we go on further, I think we've kind of done a pretty good job of, hopefully we've painted a picture of an illusion of hustle. So Lisa, can you
Yeah.
reveal our secret today behind controlling this chaos, and how do we really redefine a hustle culture?
Sure. And it's funny, you just said controlled chaos because, that's always like my desk, right? It's like a total mess and I can't find anything. But I really like our secret today because we just changed one word. So instead of it being chaos, the secret is controlled urgency. What do we mean by that? Because urgency, for example, when a case is urgent, you have to get it done. The patient's not doing well. They're not crashing and burning, but they're not like doing great. We're an elective case, right? So urgency means you need to have some motion behind it. You need to have some oomph behind it. But yet in this controlled scenario, you still are being very strategic. You're still being very thoughtful. You're not just spinning a bunch of plates and seeing which one's going to spin the longest. You actually already know what you're going to be doing. And so that's really that controlled urgency, that behind it all is still a calmness to some degree, so that you're able to really think about things, because it can be powerful, right? I mean, urgency can be powerful, but it has to be controlled.
I think this takes a piece of discipline. And if you think back to some of the episodes that we've talked before about being strategic and being very tactical, and if you combine that, you think about this. So the analogy I just said is fourth quarter, you're rushing for President's Club. Well, pull out your information, look at your planner, look at your goals, look at your strategies, and then really think, okay, controlled urgency. What is my main goal? We talked about like your North Star. Why are you doing this? What is the reason? And then the actions behind what you're doing, are they aligned with this goal? Are they getting where you need to be? Or are you getting wrapped up in, I need to stay busy? Now you have distractions. So it's actually taking you away from that North Star, because going really, really fast sometimes just brings on frantic movement.
Yeah.
If you can see Lisa right now, she's doing frantic
No,
movement.
I haven't.
love it.
I have
Oh,
a great
you do?
analogy. I have a great analogy.
go,
It like
go,
just
go.
hit me. It just hit me. So a few weeks ago, the Triple Crown was, or like a month ago, I don't know now. It's been a while, but you know me, I love horses and I love horse racing. So to the uneducated eye, and I actually learned this from my stepmom. So to the uneducated eye, a racehorse looks like it's just all out, going all out. Every single horse is like, go, 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 all energy for one goal, which is to cross the finish line, right? To cross that line to win the race. But the truth is there's actually some control in there. So I don't know if you've ever noticed this, Cindy, but jockeys, the guys, the little guys that ride the horses, and women, they actually, their position changes as the race continues. So depending on which race it is, one's a little shorter, one's a little longer, but the jockeys basically start in a very standing up position to where they are holding back, even though to the naked eye you'd never know this, they're actually holding back the horse to some degree. Now, they're probably still going about 80 to 85% of their full energy. But remember, these jockeys have ridden these horses now for months and months and months, and not quite years because you have to be a 3-year-old. But they know the horse inside and out. So they know what kind of energy the horse has. Just like your business, right? You know what each part of your business is going to take. So they stand up in the saddle and they're holding back on the horse's rein. And about 3/4 of the way into the race, or maybe a little bit less than that, they start to sit back. And when they sit back, they give the horse the reins even more. And that's when the horse really goes. So they're holding back until right when they know their time. That's why you see these horses come from behind. Sometimes you see a horse that's dead last, and then all of a sudden he wins the race. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. But no, there's actually strategy behind it. The jockey actually knew the whole time what the horse was capable of doing. And he just held him back until the right moment. And then they went for the finish line. So I'm thinking about what you were talking about with just go, go, go. You're just thinking about the end goal, but you still have to be strategic in the way that you approach the end goal. So anyhow, that was my analogy for the day.
Okay, that was such a great analogy of controlled urgency, because I'm literally visualizing how the jockey kind of contains that urgency until it's the right moment. And in our business, that's what this is about. Not every moment is the right moment. In a horse race, maybe it's only in the last 40 yards.
Yep.
And when you look at your business plan and you're strategizing, you're deciding when you push forth the effort, at what time in your business, at what week, at what point with each customer, as you're going through the sales cycle, do you push that little bit of urgency? So maybe that controlled urgency is about we plant the seeds, we build our relationship, our trust, and then what point do you just push that little bit of urgent hustle to make an impact? Oh my gosh, Lisa, I love this. This is even more revealing than I thought. So controlled urgency. Oh, wow. Now I'm like thinking about my business in a different way, and I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Of course, now the racing is over, but I can't wait to watch a horse race, and I'm going to literally look at a jockey and see when he sits up straight and when he does.
Yeah, it's cool.
But
It's
I
very
think
small, but yeah.
that was one of the best examples. So, okay, we took a minute to kind of talk about the illusion of hustle. Lisa did an amazing job laying out a great visualization of controlled urgency. So I think the last part that we want to really discuss today is how you can really not burn out. We want you to burn bright. We don't want you to burn out. So let's think about this. How do you come up with habits, routines to avoid burnout? Now, this could be episodes within itself, but I think just to reiterate what we just said, it starts with knowing what's important, where you strategize and plan. So I think one word that sticks out to me is prioritization.
Yep.
So when we're talking about a controlled urgency and not burning out, I think number one is almost a ruthless prioritization. It takes discipline. Really ask yourself, is this important? Is this driving the needle?
Yeah. And that goes back to your top 5 things that you write down for the quarter, the doctors that you're going to prioritize, the accounts that you're going to prioritize. What are those goals within each of those bullet points, right? Dr. Smith, I need to get a lunch with him. That'll lead to a case. I need to talk to him about this product and this product and this product. So we've talked about this over and over again in different episodes, but being very smart in your strategic planning, having a goal within a goal, a purpose within a purpose, and really focusing on that, and not just, again, spinning your wheels. I was thinking about something. So let's just take this, for example. You're in the hospital, you see your physician, you've got your little note card of the things you need to get accomplished with him or her. You've done that. Let's maybe push in a little bit of hustle for the next 15, 20 minutes. And what does that look like? That literally could look like you just going to the OR board and seeing what's on the schedule for the day and being like, oh, Dr. Smith has a total knee and a total hip. Oh, and it lists the company. Oh, he must be using this new device. So then in the back of your mind, you're going, okay, well, I also need to talk to him about XYZ. So you're kind of filtering in a little bit of hustle because you're doing the extra work by running. And it's not really extra work because you're already there, but take the 5 steps, go look at the OR board, and then maybe you'll see a new doctor's name up there, somebody that you didn't even know existed. And you're like, oh, who's this guy? And then you ask the OR supervisor, hey, Dr. Jones, where did she come from? And all of a sudden you get some new information, and that kind of adds to your strategic hustle or your controlled urgency just by infiltrating just an easy 15 minutes. And then that's it. That's great. Now you go back to your planning board and you say, okay, so the next time I'm here, here are the things I need to do.
I love when we talked before about when you really picture your territory as a company and you're the boss of your own business. That makes your planning focus differently. And I think I challenge you guys to think about that today, because I think this can kind of help with your way to control not getting burnt out. So let's think about this. We all are guilty of that short-term pain for long-term gain. And we are going to have moments of push. We are going to have moments that require more exertion that leads us to getting tired or burnout. So how do we reset? What can we do to make it better? And so, yes, we've already said plan with purpose, not panic. But now what do we do when we fall off the wagon a little bit? Okay, so let's just take care of ourselves. The term white space, I think that's something that I'm very guilty of not providing myself, but it's where you just have time of nothing. How do you, this is very difficult
What
for
does
women.
that look like? I have no idea what that looks
right?
like.
How does your brain just have nothing?
I don't
in
know
it?
what
Like,
that means. What
men
does that
are
mean?
so good at this. Like, can we just borrow a piece of a man's brain for some white space today? Because
So true. What are you thinking about? Nothing.
mine's
Are
like
you
a
sure?
type. I feel like it's a typewriter and things are just flying all the time.
Yes.
And
Oh my
things are
gosh.
just like, try to go to sleep and calm down. But So sometimes for me, well, it used to be really long runs, but taking a run, taking a walk, swimming, maybe you're into music, maybe you're into bird watching, whatever it is, it just takes you away from the immediate hustle of work. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's like schedule a lunch with a friend for 15 minutes and talk about memories from college or something. It just take yourself away from the present moment. It can really do you good. And if you have time on your schedule, go book a massage, go get a facial, go do something for yourself. It makes all that burnout better to reset because I guarantee when you come back to strategize, you're that much fresher, that much more focused, and you can do it. So your body is physically not meant to have an endless hustle. So it is programmed to hustle intelligently. So you have urgency, intention, and control.
Oh, I love that. But by the way, can I just say, even if I am getting a massage, my brain is still going. Like I
Oh,
would love
that's a
to
problem.
learn. I would love to learn how to literally have that white space. I don't know how you do that, but that is definitely something that I could
Lisa,
learn.
we need somebody on the podcast to teach both of us how to turn
Oh my
off our
gosh.
minds.
Oh
I
my
even
gosh.
tried with music or picture waves, and then I'm like, oh, now I want to be at the beach. Oh, what can I do at the beach? It's squirrel, squirrel. It's terrible.
Terrible. God.
If
All right.
anybody's
So
listening,
yeah.
somebody help us
I
learn how
hope
to
you're
calm our
laughing with us,
minds.
by the way. I really do. God, I don't want to be out here all alone, just crazy. All right. So
Oh.
hopefully today, I really am glad we talked about this hustle culture. I feel like it gets this glamorous, oh, I'm so busy. I have so many things on my plate. And I am super guilty of thinking like that. But I've also realized the older that I get, that it's not actually as glamorous as it looks and it's not as productive as it looks either. And sometimes when you're just hustling, you're actually not going anywhere. You're just spinning your wheels and you're not moving. So I hope that we talked about kind of the difference between that like motion and actual progress and becoming really smart and strategic in your planning and why the controlled chaos isn't the word you're looking for. It's controlled urgency because there's nothing wrong with having urgency in your business, but make it controlled, make it smart, make it to where it makes sense, right? Versus just kind of, again, spinning your wheels and doing it from a place of power. Like we talked about in a couple episodes ago, don't come from a place of panic, come from a place of power. Be smart, be a boss. This is your territory, your company. Run it like one.
So if you've listened to this episode and you're thinking to yourself right now, you're driving in the car and you're like, I just feel like I'm drowning, then I want you to just take a moment and think about how we change this madness and drowning into a better momentum. So the call to action for today would be I'd like you to pull up your calendar and I want you to eliminate the exhaustion and I want you to put in intention. So send us your messages. Let us know if this helped. We are wishing you a fabulous week with controlled urgency of our newly defined hustle culture and bringing you on more success as high performers in medical device. Thanks for listening.